Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday morning. It's January 8th, and welcome to the 8th day of our readings. Hopefully, these things are landing. Appreciate the comments you've given me. Let's just jump into it. As always, the first one is Daily Reflections for Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey. Here's what he writes for January 8th. Each of us has many, many maps in our head, which can be divided into two main categories: maps of the way things are, or realities, and maps of the way things should be, or values. We interpret everything we experience through these mental maps. All right, so this is going to be the last time you hear me say this year as I go through these. I'll be honest with you, that reading doesn't do much for me. I'm not sure I even understand what he's trying to say. So I'm going to tell you how I interpret it. It may sound totally goofy to you. It may not land for you. So maybe go back and listen to that for a minute and come up with your own interpretation completely. But here's what I found it to be. What I think this is that I know one thing that I've learned is I've learned to experience, or frustration occurs when the map of how I think things should be, it has a gap between how things are in the real world. And so when there's a gap between my expectations and what I'm experiencing, that's usually the source of my frustration. I thought we were going to leave at 5 and it's 6. I thought we were going here, we're going here. I thought our goal was $1 million and you set it at 10. Just those kind of gaps. And so for me, I interpret this to mean if your values aren't real, if your values don't map well to the real world, I think you're going to experience frustration. That could be complete crap, okay? Because I don't really understand that day. It's not the only one. So throughout the year, you're going to hear me say that from time to time. That's just being brutally honest with you. I've lived with it. I've used it in my life to mean, or do my values map to the real world, or do I need to reevaluate my values? Because gaps between those two things do create, I think, tension, frustration, or conflict in us. Hope that helps. Let's go on to their second reading from Napoleon Hill's Positive Action Plan. January is Traits of Character Month, so all 31 entries are for our character. For January 8th, he writes, "Boastfulness is generally an admission of an inferiority complex. Really capable people don't have to boast about their achievements. They let their actions speak for themselves. When you boast about your accomplishments, you are telling others that you are unsure of yourself and your value in the world. Strive to be one of those people who make things happen. If you show others what you can do, they will respect you far more than if you had simply told them what you'd done. Anyone can quarrel with words, but actions speak for themselves." So this one's crazy pertinent to my life. I've grown up most of my life with an inferiority complex. I don't know if it comes from my parents or the way I was raised or some character flaw or some issue in my life. I don't know. Not really sure I care. But I know I have it. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at dealing with it. I always want to tell people about what I've done. I want to tell people what I've accomplished. I'm a little worried that some of these videos, my YouTube, my desire to be on YouTube, my desire to race, my desire to, to make videos is part of that. So, if I drift into that, someone busts me. But at least I know that, and so I can deal with it. But act rather than say, right? I mean, stop talking and get out there and do it. Stop telling people what you're going to do. In fact, there are people out there who say as soon as you say something, as soon as you've told it, you've released the energy and your brain starts to think you've done it and you start to lose some momentum for that. So really take that to heart. Stop talking about what you're going to do and go do it. Let your actions speak for themselves. Let your results speak for themselves. If you find yourself always talking about what you've accomplished or one-upping somebody, if somebody has an achievement and you feel like you have to go in with yours, boy, that's a red flag, right? I have that. I'm saying it to you, okay? I'm doing the embarrassing thing. I'm staring at that beast I am saying to you, I have an inferior complex and I know it. And so I've just tried over the last 30, 40 years, really come to terms with that and deal with it. I think I'll have it for the rest of my life until the day I die, but I'm aware of it and I try to work with it. So I just think wow, is that powerful, for a guy to sit here and say that to you, because you might have some of it yourself. So I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you later. In fact, I'll just say goodbye. This is our 8th day. Congrats if you've done 8 days. Hopefully it's changing how you start your day. I love doing these things. I love the feedback. I love the chatter. So please write me questions, make statements. Let's interact on these a little bit. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.